Right, so this was a pretty rad flight. In the beginning, the conditions were quite easily soarable on the ridge, and I was able to core thermal right here around the top. It was interesting that Scott was pretty close to me, and I felt like I was in the core, but clearly he was a little bit coring better. He went on a glide much earlier than myself, so I kind of topped out the thermal and went on a glide then with quite a bit more altitude to spare. You can see me searching for my next thermal here, and the area on the right seems like it's shaded out quite a bit all the way to I-70, so I wasn't really confident I'll be able to find anything over there, and so what I decided to do is turn around and go find the lift somewhere closer to the towers. So this actually worked out pretty well. I found a thermal right next to the tower. I got up and then I tried to track forward out front, hoping that I can find some thermals over there. And you can see that residential neighborhood is releasing something, and eventually I was able to find a thermal that took me high enough to do the crossing on the next side of I-70. So here I'm shooting for the Mount Morrison, and I'm arriving on the lower flanks, but there are some gentle thermals that I'm taking on the way to the top, and I'm able to ride it to the quite top of the peak. For some reason the mountain itself wasn't releasing really well, so I didn't spend too much time there and continued tracking forward. This line turned out to be a pretty lifty line. I had previous luck on this neighborhood right here, so I tried to soar this small ridge and be just really patient to find a thermal. This was a risky move, and I think I could have well ended up landing right there, but it ended up working just fine. I found the thermals on this day to be pretty consistent, but I couldn't find anything very strong, so the thermals were around 1.5 meters a second at most. This next area or ridge seemed to be pretty shallow, so I got lucky eventually finding a climb here and was able to track forward. The clouds were shading some areas in and out, so this was a challenge at this part of the day. Here I'm getting pretty low and shooting for these ridges in the front, hoping that some of these will release. At the same time, I'm realizing that the area is quite shaded right now, so it may or may not work out. I found a pretty gentle climb, about 1 meters a second, that waited out pretty quick, and I wasn't confident enough to go on a glide since the whole area on the right was shaded up, so I tried to stay here just patiently waiting and searching and working every lift bubble I could find. There's a little nip there, but it's around flat land, so it wasn't really working and generating there. Here I'm trying to just soar these cliffs and work little bubbles. As you can see, the lift is pretty minimal, so it boosts me a couple of feet up, a couple of feet down, and I'm just not going anywhere. Eventually I just could not survive these cliffs and was just going lower and lower and lower and lower until I realized that this is probably a time to go to land. Interestingly, as I was crossing the residential neighborhood, I felt quite a few little bubbles there, so it left me wondering that if I had spent a little bit more time over the residential neighborhood earlier with more altitude, I might have caught something over there. But this ended up being a pretty fun little flight on a day that didn't look too much of anything in the beginning.